Reacting to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, European markets have plummeted in trading today. Major European markets, including France's CAC, Germany's DAX and the UK's FTSE, are all in deep red, plunging up to 5%. Global stocks and US bond yields dived while the dollar, gold and oil prices jumped as Russian forces attacked Ukraine. MOEX Group, which runs the Moscow Stock Exchange, suspended trading shortly after markets opened, and Russia's indices crashed up to 50%. The crash of European stocks followed the equities rout in Asia since the morning, with a sharp jump in commodity prices, adding to worries about inflation and risks of economic growth. Indian markets also closed today with heavy losses. India's Sensex registered its fourth worst fall ever, closing with a loss of 2,702 points, while Nifty 50 fell below the 16,300 mark. The United States and its allies are imposing severe economic sanctions on Russia in response to its aggression towards Ukraine. Meanwhile, oil prices surged today, with crude breaching $100 a barrel for the first time since 2014 and touching as high as $105 per barrel. Russia is the world's second largest oil producer, mainly selling its crude to European refineries, and is the largest supplier of natural gas to Europe, providing about 35% of the supply to the European bloc. In the commodities market, gold prices jumped, touching $1,950 per ounce, its highest level in more than a year. The deepening sell-off in equities came after US stocks already took a beating on Wednesday, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 1.38% and the S&P 500 losing 1.84%. The Russian ruble turned violently lower today as well, after posting small gains early in the session. Well, joining us next to give us more insight into Ukraine is Boris Volkolensky. He's joining us from Moscow, and he's an associate professor at the Institute of Asian and African Studies at Moscow's State University. Professor, thank you very much for joining us. This invasion is something that the West has been warning about for some time, that President Putin seems to have been gearing up towards for some time. What's your reaction to what you've seen unfolding in Ukraine?
Well, first of all, the events that took place these days should have, if you ask my personal opinion, they should have taken place 8 years ago, when it was already clear that the regime change in the Ukraine will not lead to any stable situation in that country. And the Nazis that took the upper hand in the establishment, they were always, pursuing the policies of aggression towards the people of Lugansk and Donetsk, which were at that time unrecognized. Now they are recognized and sovereign independent states, the Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republics. So and it led to more than 10,000 of life losses. Something should have been done actually a long time ago, but better late than never. And it was only natural that, Russia intervened, like India intervened in East Pakistan in 1971, to stop the genocide, to stop the atrocities, to save the people from total elimination and all kinds of sufferings. So I think that between all choices, there was no good choice actually. There was only, bad, worse, and even worse choices. But this is not a very good choice. Of course, no one wants a war, but other choices will be even worse and worse.
Now, the West has obviously framed this as an unprovoked attack on Ukraine. Russia views it very differently. How do you feel that history will mark this moment, whether an unprovoked attack or something that was expected to take place and from a Russian point of view had to take place?
Well, if you don't call, constant shellings and bombings a provocation, then of course it was an unprovoked attack. But the bombings and shellings lasted for several days and especially nights, and people in Donetsk and Lugansk regions, now republics, were living in cellars and waking up late in the night, to the explosions all around them. And children were crying, and well, if it's not a provocation, well, then it's an unprovoked attack. As for history, well, of course, we'll see what history is a long story. But now we all see that this is a point of liberation. It's not a war. It's a liberation of Donetsk and Lugansk republics who want to be left alone, who want to live their lives, who want to live to speak their mother tongue, who don't want to cherish and to commemorate Nazi collaborationists as is done in some parts of Ukraine now. So I think this is going to be a turning point in history, and well, as I see it, it is going to be a beginning of a new road for the independent and sovereign states.